2027 election has become more interesting and of course more exciting for all political observers and watchers across Nigeria, as the last stronghold of the People's Democratic Party in southeastern Nigeria today moved en masse into the All Progressives Congress, marking what is the end of what a lot of people will tell me 25-year dominance of the People's Democratic Party in southeastern Nigeria. Now, a lot of people may have a lot of reasons why the PDP, which hitherto held sway in the entire southeastern Nigeria, may have lost their very last standing grip in the entire southeast. A lot of people might have many reasons why it has happened. A lot of people might have a lot of attributions to it. But we are here to look at the generality of it all. Why has the PDP lost its place in southeastern Nigeria and perhaps Nigeria in general? And what prompted the final move, or what they call the final stroke that broke the camel's back? And today on African Telecast United, we are looking at it with no other person than Barrister Enugu Okike, who is a public affairs analyst and of course a very, very seriously concerned Nigeria. Barrister Enugu Okike, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I just want you, in few words, describe what you think happened in Enugu today.
Yeah, it is just a movement of the existing PDP political structure to another platform, that is the All Progressives Congress, which is popularly known as the APC. I should regard it as a result of the crisis, or what is considered the near complete disintegration of the PDP at the central level as a result of antagonistic interests and oppositional internecine oppositional activities of some actors within the PDP, which is making some state governors, to increasingly regard it as a platform which is not very safe to vie for election come 2027.
Okay, I want you to, because as a political watcher in Nigeria, I want you to give me a rundown. Where did PDP get it wrong? Because I can remember, almost 2 decades back, when you look at my primary school, the back of my primary school notebook, you see political parties and the states they govern, and you have to be a keen observer to see any other state that is not PDP. You just see PDP, 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 PDP. If you're not careful, you will not see ADC or ACN as the case may be, or ANPP as the case may be. Just be PDP, PDP, PDP. And now we are looking at a situation where PDP probably does not have more than 8 state governors now. What happened to the PDP?
I don't think the political party got it wrong. The only reason why what is happening is because they lost the control of central government. So this is just the gravitational pull of power. If the PDP did not lose the election they lost in 2015, they would still continue to control the country. But in Nigeria, we don't play politics of principle. People are not motivated by ideologies, or a set of political principles or philosophy of governance. Everybody is after power. So, and the centers of power, the gravitational pull of power currently leads irresistibly to the All Progressives Congress. Because it's not as if, in Enugu, for instance, it's not as if the APC is popular. Not even by any stretch of imagination would anybody refer to APC as a popular platform. That when Buhari won election, there was this, I don't know whether to call it urban legend, just the kind of stereotype that our people had against the All Progressives Congress as a party that was dominated by the North and even had anti-Igbo agenda. So if you are looking at the people, looking at popularity, then APC remains an unpopular platform, particularly in the Southeast. But everybody's looking at the gravitational pull of power.
So,
power is concentrated in the federal government, and APC is in charge of the federal government. And as they've said, everybody's trying to be plugged to the center, or to be connected to the center.
We will get to that point of being connected to the center, because it is one of the major things we are looking at today. But I want to understand in particular, you are saying that if PDP had not lost the 2015 general elections, the PDP would have still been a dominant party today.
Yes.
So
Emphatically, yes.
yes, because by that instance, it means it's not necessarily the PDP that got it wrong, or it's not like the APC is getting it right, but rather people are just gravitating towards the
I
power
think I
at.
said something like that. It's not about governance. Nigeria is currently one of the poorest countries in the world. In terms of infrastructure, we are nowhere to be found. And the people who are the helm of affairs are the leaders of this All Progressives Congress. So you should think that a political party that has done so appallingly bad when it comes to governance and the economic direction of the country should be a kind of pariah that people should be trying to avoid the political party. But in contrast, people are moving into a deeply, with the masses, a deeply unpopular political platform. What does that tell you? That the interests of the masses are not, the interests of the masses are not taken into consideration.
Let me stop you there, because the governor of the state, after the moving to the All Progressives Congress earlier today, he had a media chat with some national television stations, where he said that he was doing it for the region, that the People's Democratic Party has over the years neglected the southeastern region, but this time around the All Progressives Congress is beginning to remember the people of the southeast, and that is why they need to join the political party that has the interest of the southeast at heart.
I think that is just a deeply political statement, because this is not the first APC state you will be having in the southeast. You know that Imo State has been APC for a long time. Ebonyi State has also been APC for a long time. So if the central leadership of the All Progressives Congress, would not begin to regard the southeast geopolitical zone as their friend, simply because we have a few governors who happen to be to come from other political platforms. Like in Anambra State, we have APGA. In PDP, before this, in the Enugu, I beg your pardon, before this period, we had the PDP.
Yes.
So it's not significant enough for anybody to say that the Southeast is being neglected because we've not embraced the All Progressives Congress. Resources sharing in the country is a product of constitutional arrangement. No matter how you hate a region, you still have to allocate the resources that accrue to them constitutionally.
That is where it takes me to connecting to the center, because that has been the statement everywhere in Enugu. Whoever that is the campaign, or whoever that is joining Peter Mbah in moving into the APC, is talking about that it is time to connect Enugu to the center. And we want to understand, what does it really mean to connect a state to the center?
Yeah, I know in a typical federal system of government like we have in the United States, you could have a situation, it also happens in America, where you have a state that is being governed by a Republican governor. And the president, Donald Trump, would become openly antagonistic to some of these states. But federal arrangement is a constitutional arrangement. We should accept the fact that the president has a lot of prerogatives. He could make a lot of decisions with far-reaching implications.
So, basically, you are saying that there is no benefit whatsoever of Enugu people joining the APC.
I think that Enugu is joining APC is just power. You know what happens? Elections are not free and fair in Nigeria. And if you have the federal government using the so-called federal might to protect your interest, during election, it could give you a lot of advantages. And that is exactly the reason why Enugu is moving into the APC. It is not because we now want to have more resources allocation or to be connected to the center, as it is popularly being said.
Okay, as it is popularly being said, we've been discussing with Barrister Ezugu, okay, who is a public affairs analyst, and of course, like I used to call him, a deeply concerned Nigerian. And we've been looking at the issues concerning the mass defection of the People Democratic Party structure in Enugu State into the All Progressives Congress. But we'll go on a very quick break. But before we do that, we want to play a clip of Governor Peter Ndubuisimba joining the All Progressives Congress and what his reasons for defections are.
Over the past months, I have thought carefully about the path forward. In the end, after much soul-searching and discussion, I have concluded that we must stand for the principles and institutions that honor transparency, trust, and above all, the people we serve. For decades, the Southeast, especially Enugu, has stood firmly behind the PDP, showing loyalty and party's success. Yet, despite this history, our voices were too often disregarded when it mattered most. It has therefore become necessary to seek affiliation where our interests as a region are represented in the form of fair partnership. We are not moving from a place of resentment or fear. We are confident of our future. We have no axe to grind, no personal points to make, but fairness and respect and integrity must guide our choices for that future to be ours. Today, in joining the All Progressives Congress, we're embracing a visionary partnership. I have found in His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, not just a leader of our nation, but a partner in purpose, a man with the courage to look beyond today and make the tough choices that secure lasting prosperity for tomorrow.
All right, so welcome back. This is just the roadmap to 2027 on African Telecast United. I am still Ugwabo Emmanuel Chizova, and with me here is still Barrister Ezugbo Okike, who is a public affairs analyst and a concerned Nigeria. And we are looking at the issue of the defection of the governor of Enugu State, along with all the PDP structures and the governance structures in Enugu State, into the All Progressives Congress. Now, a lot of people have the insinuation that it's not about maybe connecting to the center or about the interest of the people. A lot of people attribute it to the fact that the governor might have fears of losing political power in the state, and that is why he wants to join the All Progressives Congress, whom a lot of people believe that with or without the people's support, the president is going to win, because people believe that maybe INEC is going to play similar thing to what they've been playing, and which is suggesting that probably they will not, or the votes will not count, and they need to join a party where whether votes count or not, you will win. What's your view of this particular viewpoint that a lot of people in Enugu State
the
have?
re-election of a governor depends on performance. The election of a governor depends on performance. If a governor has done well, governance-wise, I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be re-elected. But there is a lot of sense in that cynicism, because if you look at what has happened over the years, we have a situation whereby the electoral umpire, the body that is responsible for conducting elections, would manipulate results in favor of some candidates simply because they have influence, they have power, they have the finance. And the federal government is in the best position to oversee these manipulations. So it is not an insinuation, it is a product of real politics.
So probably the governor is moving where he feels he can be assured of victory.
Where his interest will be protected. So that is why the issue about connecting the Southeast to the center and attracting possibly more infrastructural development, and maybe greater resources allocation to the Southeast does not tell the whole story. It is just the kind of political statement you need to make when you want to rationalize your political decision.
But in your own assessment, has the governor of Enugu State, Barrister Peter Ndubuisi, performed excellently well to deserve re-election by the Enugu people?
Yeah, I think it is too early for anybody to begin to do a holistic assessment of his performance. It's just 2 years into office.
But the House of Assembly, the National Assembly, I meant to say, is suggesting that election should hold 1 month from now, or 1 year from now, I mean to say.
Yeah, if you look at what has happened in the state, I think it's we have a lot of uncompleted projects in the state, which if eventually completed, it is going to be unfair for anybody to say that the state governor, has underperformed. But we are looking at a situation where all these projects should be completed so that we can now do any kind of objective assessment of the governor's performance in office. But for now, I think it is premature for anybody to make any conclusive statement on that.
Okay, for anybody,
this is not. It should not be affected by the election timetable. If they are trying to readjust the election timetable, it does not take away the implication of time. And if you look at the implication of time, then the inevitable conclusion is that it is too early to make any holistic assessment of any administration that's just been in power for 2 years.
Okay, any administration. It's actually too early, just as you have said, because we are barely 2 years into the administration. But of course, the talks of politics has taken over everywhere in the Nigerian political space, and it's all about 2027,
And
2027,
that,
and the National Assembly is trying to make it 2026.
Yeah, there's also this thing about futuristic plans. Some state governors, or almost all the state governors, they try to sound visionary. And when you have a vision of how you can radically transform your state, it's something that takes time. So there has been a lot of these visionary statements and plans on the part of the state government, which of course is not going to be accomplished in just even a period of 4 years. So I suppose that is why he's very desperate about re-election.
Okay, that is why he's very desperate about re-election. So let me bring you back to an issue that happened just before this wave of defection. The issue of Uche Nnaji Ugabwala and the other APC structure blocking Peter Mbah from entering the All Progressives Congress. Do you think that maybe the position or the ambition of Uche Nnaji was one of the things that propelled Peter Ndubuisi to enter the All Progressives Congress and ensure that he gets that federal might support instead of another candidate getting the federal might support in this particular political scenario?
I reasonably don't think that any political figure who is not a sitting governor would be so influential and so important to the federal government or to the president that he would be able to prevent a sitting governor from joining any political platform. A sitting governor is a beautiful bride. If you should be the president and the governor is knocking on the door to join your own political platform, you will welcome it with open arms. So I think it was just the function of rumor mill. If the state governor wanted to join the All Progressives Congress, as he has eventually done, I don't think there was any bottleneck or stumbling block mounted by anybody whatsoever.
Okay. Now, with the movement of the PDP structure from top to bottom in Enugu State into the APC, what now becomes of the People's Democratic Party?
It is just a change of flag or logo from whatever they call it. These are the same people who just a kind of mass exodus from their previous platform into a new one, the APC now. So the implication, because we have a situation where the major political players in the states have all joined the All Progressives Congress. The implication, the natural implication is that it signals a total collapse of the PDP in the state. It will start playing second fiddle.
Do you even see PDP in Enugu State being alive enough to play second fiddle in the politics of Enugu State?
Yeah, because the interest of the people who are now in the APC should also consist in trying to maintain a sort of facade of activities on the part of some opposition parties. So they will still maintain a structure just as Yeso Wike has done at the federal level. a situation where you are a serving minister in the All Progressives Congress and you claim to be a member of the People's Democratic Party. And his intention, or the clear intention, which everybody can see, is to cause problems within the opposition party. So we are still going to maintain that kind of structure.
So basically, you don't see PDP seriously challenging for any position in Enugu State?
The PDP cannot, we don't even have that kind of politics in Enugu State. I think it is a politically docile state where, you know what happened in 2023 was a one-off event, a sort of quasi-revolution, and it is something that doesn't happen often. So we are just looking at the political climate to know if there is going to be anything like that again, but I seriously doubt that.
We are not looking at the political climate to see if there is anything like that will happen again, and that is from Barrister Ezugu Okike, right here on the roadmap to 2027 on African Telecast United. So Barrister, before we go, I just, in a few words, what do you think Enugu people should expect from the events of today?
I don't think it is really very important. You know, if the state governor had good intentions, you know, he's not going to start having bad intentions because he changed political platform. If he had the intention of doing well, administration-wise, I think he would still continue with whatever his philosophy of governance had been before now. So changing from a PDP to APC is not really significant as it concerns the Enugu people. The only thing is that in the Southeast, as I said, there is a prevailing negative sentiment about the All Progressives Congress. And we might begin to see pockets of antagonism here and there, but on the whole, it is not going to be very important.
On the whole, it is not going to be very important. And that is where we call it a wrap today on the roadmap to 2027. I am Ugwabo Emmanuel Chizoba telling you bye-bye from African Telecast United. See you some other time.